Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me.
Yeah.
This is, no, it's not the last one. Well, we're not in person, but we're getting closer.
We are.
And closer. Oh, I should also really introduce, we're an advice podcast. My name is Megan, and I'm joined by my co-host, Melissa.
Hello there. I'm not a robot.
No, imagine I'm doing it's like me and my co-host is, what's that like sex toy robot that's from the Whitney Cummings special, Sophia? Or is that a different one?
Isn't hers just
There's a
her
different
name?
One. You're right. Hers is just the Whitney one, but the Sophia is the other.
Mm-hmm. The one that got in a fight with Chrissy Teigen.
Yes.
Which probably warranted at this point.
Yeah, rough. Yeah, we're an advice podcast. If you want to call in, you leave us voicemails, and then we give you fantastic, amazing, life-changing advice.
But
and
we're not professionals.
No, not at all.
No.
We are just two bitches with a fuck ton of opinions, and we want to tell you how to live your life.
Because you asked. That's the thing. We're not even tell you unless you didn't ask for it.
No, we're not going to call you and be like, hey, this is what you should do. You call us, and therefore you consent to our, sometimes harsh, but out of love advice.
And what if we just started randomly calling people that have called us?
We cold call. We're like, hey, what's up with or we just we stalk people on Instagram. We figure out what's going on in their lives. And then we call them and we're like, I know what's happening. You're making a fucking mistake.
Mm-hmm. What's up?
What's up? If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. We ask that you are 18 or over, have your parents' permission. You let us know your pronouns in the call. You practice, write down what you're going to say, time it because it's got to be under 3 minutes. And we want as much detail as possible. Only include your zodiac sign if literally you have 2 seconds left at the very end and you want to, but we need to know your age. We need to know the age of everybody else involved. We need to know if it's about dating. How long have you been dating? Do you live together? Have you said I love you? All of those different things really factor in to the kind of advice or the best. We can give the best advice when we know the most. And we already know that everybody likes to tell the story to make themselves look the best. So the more information you can give, we got to sift through that to begin with.
Yeah. I'm not a robot.
I'm dead. Maybe one day we'll have to greet our new audience members because they found us through TikTok, but
soon.
As of now, we have never been included in anyone's being podcast you need to listen to.
I saw it.
We're only ever in the comments. And
did you see my comment to you?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, cool. I need to respond to it, but I did see it.
Mm-hmm.
My Leo ego is thinking that these people are intentionally not including our podcast.
They just don't know.
Yeah,
they'll know
that's
soon.
what I tell myself.
They'll know soon.
But maybe we'll
get
also start a
in
TikTok.
things. People write things at their college newspaper about us. We've been tagged, or they've sent it to us on Instagram.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah, it's happened a few times. I see it and then I'll unread it, so then you'll see it later.
Oh, is that what the unread messages are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll go back and look. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
I feel like I've told you this before.
You've told me that? With certain, you definitely have. I just forgot.
Yep.
No, that does ring a bell.
Yeah, I'm not a robot.
It does ring a bell. Yeah, she's not a robot. She's a real person. Like Pinocchio. Wait, is that I'm a real boy, Pinocchio?
I'm a real boy.
I'm a real boy. Why does that sound like
good.
Mickey?
Well,
Is it the same?
I don't
Is it
think
like-
so.
I'm a real boy.
It's that whole like 1950s type of.
Yeah. I think I actually don't even sound like Pinocchio. I sound like Pinocchio from Shrek. I love. Have you
That's
seen
true.
Shrek?
Yes, I've seen Shrek.
Okay, good.
Have I
Have you
seen the whole thing? No. Have I seen
Have you-
bits and pieces of it? Yes.
So you've only seen the first one, I'm assuming.
Bits and pieces. I probably have seen it as a whole, but can I tell you anything that happens? I know that Fiona, what's her name?
Fiona?
Yeah.
Finola? I'm sorry, there's a name, Fiona.
There's
You
a
just made
name, Finola, too.
Finola?
Hughes on General Hospital plays Anna
My
Devane.
bad. My bad.
Excuse me.
My apologies. I'm sorry to the General Hospital community.
Apologize to Finola Hughes.
I apologize, Finola Hughes. I think it just sounds like Shinola, and that's what I like the watch Shinola. So that's what my brain went to. So what were you saying?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
Something about, I was going to say that I know that she's like a princess and then she chooses to be an ogre. And that's the movie.
There you go.
There's a jackass in there. There's a cookie. There's a Puss in Boots. The gingerbread scene is is that at the beginning?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that is
very
the beginning.
intense. Very intense.
Well, we have an extra long update.
/ advice.
Yeah, / advice / this is what you're going to do, checklist, all of that. So we thought that we would do that at the end of the show as opposed to the beginning of the show. And then we're going to do our calls up at the front to give enough time for that extra long update and more advice giving.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I love the podcast and I'm super excited to finally have a reason to call in. So I'm 23, my boyfriend is 25, and we've been together for just over a year, and we've been long distance for 8 months of that. He's actually moving across the country to be near me in a couple of weeks. So some backstory, I had one boyfriend before my current boyfriend, and we never slept together. And then right after I broke up with him, I went through a brief phase and I slept with like 3 random hookups. And then I met my current boyfriend, and he's my 4th partner. My boyfriend has only had one partner before me. It was his ex. They only had sex a few times, and I know that it never lasted very long. He never finished, and it was not very pleasurable. And then we met pretty much as soon as they broke up. So a reoccurring issue that has come up in our relationship is my boyfriend's jealousy of my past sexual experiences. And I know this isn't super uncommon. He doesn't try to make me feel guilty about it. It's just that he's jealous of the men I used to sleep with, and he can't really understand casual sex and how it can be just that surface level and not anything deeper. So it's not even like he wishes that he had slept with other people. I think part of the fact is that when he was in college, most of his friends were saving themselves for marriage. So sex was put on this huge pedestal. And he was an RA, so he never really went to parties. And he wasn't around hookup culture, so it wasn't normalized for him. And he's having a hard time understanding it and dealing with the fact that I had participated in the past. The sex in our relationship is really awesome. It's not getting boring or stale. I mean, obviously we're long distance right now, so we can't do it all the time, but I really don't think that's the issue. So that's the backstory. And what I'm calling about specifically is the other night we were talking about this and how it's just kind of this issue that's not going away. And we had this idea, kind of both of us, it wasn't him pushing this on me, that he hook up with someone just random off of Tinder, so he can just empathize with hooking up and understand kind of where I was coming from. I'm just calling to ask if this is totally ridiculous. Obviously, there would be rules. I don't think it would really bother me. I honestly think it would be kind of hot. And obviously, this did not happen until post-COVID. So yeah, I just don't know if this is totally crazy. I mean, is this just super unhealthy and not the right way to go about dealing with this? Or is it kind of okay? Please be harsh. If this is totally ridiculous, let me know. Thank you.
Be kind, Megan. Not to you. I mean, I don't need to think about being kind to you. No, whatever. I'm going to be me. how do you not like the idea of it's like, I don't understand how someone could like, I think you could be like, there's a difference between being like, you know what, like I really like to be, have like an emotional connection with someone before I sleep with them, but being like, I don't understand how you have sex with random people. What do you mean you don't understand? If someone has, let's talk about parts. There's penises, there's vaginas, sometimes vaginas and vaginas, penises and penis. Like, what do you mean you don't like that part? Just is like, I don't get how you don't understand that. Like, because either it's I'm FOMO. I really want to do that. Like, I really wish I had those kinds of things. Or I'm not cool with the fact that you did those things. And I am like, I'm trying to deal with like my judgment of you based off of those things. But like, we're saying that he doesn't fall into either. So I don't know where, like, I'm just confused.
I'm confused too. And I don't think sex should ever be used to teach someone a lesson. Because that's essentially what this is like, he's going to find or you're going to find, whatever the rules are, find someone to hook up with just to show him that you can just fuck anybody without feelings. Like, I don't think that is the way to go about treating this at all, unless this is something that you're actually into with him hooking. Like, this is something that you're both consensually like into. And it might be something like you say you find it hot. Like, he goes to hook up with someone, you get turned on by it. But then like, where does that leave him?
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like, in what camp is he in? Because I don't foresee if he's like, oh, I wish I had done this. Like, I want to like sleep around, blah, blah, blah. Then I feel like he would enjoy it. But like, if it's the other part where it's just judging you, like, how does this happen? Like, I don't see him like wanting to do that or enjoying it. Also, I know that you're in a relationship, but him having a hard time dealing with the fact that you slept with 3 random people. You didn't like just 3 random people, like your experience, quote unquote. I'm not trying to be a bitch or anything like that, but like you said, like there weren't feelings attached. It was like, it is just whatever. Like that idea that like you have slept with 2 more people than him. Right? Mm-hmm. He slept with 2 people. You've slept with 4 people, including him. He slept with 2 people, including you. You've only slept with 2 more people. That's not like a huge discrepancy. Like, it's not like he's never had sex with anybody else. Like, he's had sex with his like ex-girlfriend. Like, him having, if he has an issue with how people, like with the people you've slept with before him, that's his problem. That's not your problem. And like, you don't need to be there with him to like problem solve it and hold his hand through him feeling uncomfortable about this, because we have you, and I don't mean this in like a shitty way, but like, I don't think he's given you a legitimate reason. And I think that's what you're telling us, is that like, oh, he just like doesn't understand how that could be it. But I'm like, we don't like him. We're not, I mean, not like that, but like, we don't have these emotional feelings to him. So when he says like, I don't really understand how someone could do that, all I hear is judgment. Like, that's all I hear. But you're filtering it through like, you really care about this person. We don't know him. We don't have that same sort of affection to him. So all of this to me just sounds toxic and shitty, because it's not even like you guys took a break and this happened when you were like, he's upset about your past. And again, no shade at all. Your past is super, I think it's not like it doesn't matter how many people that you slept with at all, but like the fact that someone would get, and this is my own thing, that someone get more upset about sex you would have with random people that you weren't 3 people that you weren't really into, is supposed to value and like hold all of this weight more than sex he's had with someone who he was also in a relationship with. Like, I hate that. Like, I hate this, like, because that's where like the purity culture and like the slut shaming aspect comes in, is like, why are we treating this so differently than like the fact that he's had sex with somebody else?
Right. But it's because feelings were involved.
But that, to me, I'm like, that's more.
That's more. And the thing also on top of that is just like just because I haven't been through something doesn't mean that I can't understand. I won't understand it completely, but that doesn't mean that I can't like understand it? Why does he feel like he needs to be like, he needs to experience sex with, I mean, this isn't even something that he's saying, you're saying that he needs to experience sex with someone he's never had feelings with in order to get it. Like, I feel like most people in the world have had sex with people that they didn't have feelings with. And why is it an issue just for you?
Yeah, like watch a movie where two people hook up. Like, there are concepts that we haven't had personal experience with that, like, you can understand in the abstract and all of that. But like, I personally, to read into your call more, which I know people hate when I do that, but like, I think that there is a lot of, you said he grew up with a lot of people who are saving themselves for marriage, and he was also an RA. So maybe it was like a very religious school, or, you know, where people got like engaged and married, like all through college and all of that kind of stuff. And maybe that's kind of the circle that he grew up in. And he has a lot of dated, misogynistic, sex, slut shaming views that you think that he will be able to unlearn. And the only reason why he doesn't understand any of that is because he hasn't personally experienced it. And that's not going to solve anything. And like, that's not the case at all. And his views and how he feels about all of that, like that is, I can't stress how much that is not your fucking problem. Like, it is not your problem. No matter how much you care about him and how much you like him, it's like, here's the thing. If you have an issue with the 3 people that I slept with before you, like, why are we not talking about our relationship? Like, why does that matter? And if it really matters to you, let's go to therapy and talk about it. Or you can go to individual therapy and figure that out. But like, the problem solving is not on you. Like, it needs to be him to recognize, like, why am I doing this? How can I fix this? And not you as the girlfriend who it's like, hey, you have these, like, the things you are saying, whether or not you intend them, are like very thinly veiled in like misogyny and like slut shaming and purity culture and all of that. And that directly affects and is talking about your life. It is then not your responsibility as the person who what he is saying and doing, like, is hurting you. Like, it's not your responsibility to then handhold him to like figure that out. Like, that just pisses me the fuck off. Yeah. And I just think that, like, if you've been together for 1 year, long distance for 8 months, he's definitely insecure in the relationship. He's probably insecure when it comes to like sex or anything like that. But like, I guess like what I don't understand is like why this is taking up space in your conversations and all of this stuff. Like, it's a year into this relationship. It just feels, I get icky feelings.
I do too.
Also, just how you've downplayed, which again, there doesn't have to be like a deep meaning to the people that we have sex with. Like, you can just have sex with whoever the fuck you want to have sex with. Like, all you need to, like, consent. Great. That's like, doesn't have to have any other strings attached or anything like that. But even the way that you're kind of talking about it in like really minimizing it, it just seems like you are shrinking yourself to make his ego feel okay and feel better, when like that's not your responsibility. And that needs to be something that he works on. And if he doesn't see an issue with it, that's an issue.
I'm just like, why does it matter? You're with him now. Why does it matter?
And again,
cares?
He has had sex with someone else.
Yes. Why is this an issue for him?
Like, I don't get it at all. I'm like,
if that was like a deal breaker that he can't be with people that have been with other people for fun, then he should have said something before, and you guys shouldn't be together. Like, if this is something he can't get past, then you shouldn't be together, because it feels like he's guilting you and holding it over your head and trying to make you feel bad about this.
And there's nothing that he should, like, again, like, this is what you've done before you started dating. Like, it has absolutely nothing to do with him, and him making this all about himself. Yeah. If it was a deal breaker, like, I think that's the conversation. It's like, okay, I'm done having this conversation. You're making me feel really bad about myself. And like, I have no reason to feel bad. Like, I'm an empowered woman. Like, I can make my own fucking choices. And you've had sex before. Like, you can make your own choices. Like, sex is sex. If this is a deal breaker for you, that I have had sex with 3 people before you, three casual hookups before you, then let me know. And if it's not a deal breaker, we're never talking about this ever again. And this is done.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, it also even sounds like these are like 3 one-night stands that like, I can't. Like, and I've never been like a one-night stand kind of person at all, but like, I understand one-night stands. I've had like, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of a one-night stand.
But you've had sex with people that you don't have feelings for.
Yeah. Like, and that's the thing that like, but I've never like gone to a bar and like met someone and then like hooked up with someone that night or whatever, like that, you know, that TV show version of that. But I've had sex with people, like had sex with people I'm just friends with, sex with people that like just want to have sex with them. Like, but I know like, but like the idea that like that is something that someone else who you date down the road is going to have an opinion on is like complete and utter bullshit to me. Again, considering like I would understand this a lot more if it was like he was saving himself, like he decided not to have sex until he was married. Then he decided he wanted to with his then he decided he wanted to, and like we're in this relationship, and now he's having a really hard time dealing with the fact that I've had previous sexual partners. Like, nah, this sounds like a fucking dude who's like, I've had sex with someone else, but like you've had sex with someone, like, oh, that's too much for me. And again, like the idea that like he's more uncomfortable with the sex without feelings versus sex with feelings.
It's slut shaming. That's what it
is. That's all it is. And it's so thinly coded and like so thinly veiled in that like, I don't even think that you, the caller, can recognize that or hears that. And that's what it is. And this is what that looks like in a relationship when you care about somebody and all of that. Like it's fucked. And like, he needs to fucking, if this is a deal breaker for him, he needs to decide that. And if not, and if you decide to stay together, he needs to also fucking go to therapy and unlearn all of this shit because it's fucked up.
Yep. All right. Next call.
Woohoo.
Hello, Megan and Melissa. I go by she, her pronouns. To get into this, so basically I've been with my boyfriend now for going on a year. He has 2 older brothers, and his oldest brother's wife hates me. Essentially, there's absolutely no reason for her to hate me besides the fact that she is best friends with his ex-girlfriend. So starting out, the first weekend I ever met her, we all went out on the boat. We were fishing. She was on her phone. She wasn't fishing, which I thought was odd, but I didn't think anything of it. Thought maybe she was just shy. Fast forward to us going back to our place that night. We walk in and every picture of my boyfriend and I are thrown on the ground. We thought that was odd because they were all nailed or screwed to the wall. So it would take someone physically doing it to get them onto the ground. We didn't think anything of it, put them back up, and went to the convenience store by our house and noticed that his ex-girlfriend was in town from about 3 hours away. To give a little bit of information, his brother is also from about 8 hours away. So it's not a coincidence that they were both in town on the same day, randomly, because his brother comes back maybe twice a year. So I thought that was odd. And then come to find out, they had invited her to the family reunion that was that weekend. And we just happened to catch her, and it spooked her off, thankfully. But now I moved in with him from back where I was. We were doing long distance for a while. She found out and continued to message me false things about my boyfriend, saying that he was sleeping with her, that she was still living there. Various claims that were very easily proven false. And usually I would be the person to believe the woman in the situation, but there's cameras, like there's so many things that he was able to show me that proved that completely wrong. But also now I am pregnant, and she continues to kind of try and divide my boyfriend and I.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Whether it be from him and his family, me and his family, whatever it may be, she creates these false claims that just aren't true. And I'm not really sure what to do.
Oh, that's a lot. Congratulations on your baby.
Baby?
Baby? Devat. Fuck. I don't even. I mean,
the ex-girlfriend is a problem, but the real problem is the brothers.
Is your sister-in-law?
Yeah.
Eventual.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the real question is, what is your boyfriend doing? Because, like, this is his family. You know, you're carrying a part of his family as well. And, like, yeah, you guys are together, but, like, this is his, I'm just going to call her your sister-in-law because it just makes it fucking easier. So when your sister-in-law is, like, talking mad shit to the family, where is your boyfriend in this? Like, what is he doing to combat that and, like, all of those things and have those conversations and driving a wedge there? Because, like, God, I think this is so messy, but, like, this shouldn't have to be your mess to deal with. Like, I think it's like they need to have, like, a family, or maybe, yeah, you included, like, everyone, like, a family sit down.
She's growing like, half of him in there.
I was just thinking that, like, that would be such a headache, but I think it's easier if you're there. You can also know what your boyfriend is saying, which I think is important, even if it's going to be kind of uncomfortable. But yeah, having a family sit down with, like, literally everyone, and it's like, let's air this out, let's figure this out. Like, we are together, like, we're super happy, we're having a baby, and, like, I'm really uncomfortable around, like, being around you because, like, and, like, have his parents there too, and, like, I know, and, like, I hear the things that, like, you say about me, which, like, aren't like this, like, the ex-girlfriend and, like, all of this kind of stuff. Like, she seems like she's also still decently in the picture enough to, like, get to
the either other family members.
Yeah, like, either the ex is talking to sister-in-law and the sister-in-law's relaying it to the family, and they're trusting that source over you and potentially your boyfriend. And so I think it's like a sit down that it's like, let's just talk about this. And, like,
and he needs to show them the video and whatever receipts that he showed to you.
Yeah, because I also think that, like, these kinds of people who are, like, you know, she's texting on her phone, there's a lot of this, like, shadiness back and forth or whatever. Like, those kinds of people, most of the time when you confront them with, like, a sit down conversation, they completely cower. They're like, and, like, it takes a lot to call people out on their bullshit like that. And I think a lot of the time people think that they're being fucking slick when they're being assholes, or they're saying sort of things behind your back, or they're making those snide remarks. And when you confront it head on, they have to defend and justify their actions. And, like, best of luck, go ahead, try and do that. But yeah, it sounds like this has been a game of, like, toxic telephone. And you need to get your voice in there, like, coming from you first person, and everybody needs to do that. And it's not like through so-and-so, through so-and-so, through so-and-so. And I think also that'll show you, like, how it is, again, it's your boyfriend's family. He should be the one, like, in these conversations that's, like, that's my ex. Like,
she's my ex for a reason.
Yeah. Like, and like, get the fuck out of like trying to like start this shit with me and my family. And I get that she's your best friend. Like, we dated, but like, it's over.
You have like a little niece or nephew coming. You need to be more cognizant of this family and not interlopers.
Mm-hmm. And I think also if you want to like really go for it, I would, the next time the ex reaches out, be like, I would love if you can show me the proof. Like, show me what you have, because you've seen what he has that proves it like wrong. But like, yeah, but I think too, like, you know, there's like so many different ways that this like could, I don't know, say like so many different ways that this could go or whatever, or like so many different objectives. But I think that like all of this like passive aggressive, like talking and like whisper, all of that kind of stuff just needs to be done. So you can actually like get down to the bottom of this. Because like, I mean, you believe your boyfriend and all of that. And I think that that's great. And I'm happy for you that this isn't like actually happening. But I would also be like, show me your proof from her. Like, what do you have?
Show me the receipts.
Mm-hmm. Show me the receipts.
Words of Whitney Houston, R.I.P.
Well, because I also think that there's also no way that any of this stuff is true. A, it's easily disproven. But I think the fucked up thing is that like the family and all of that, like you're choosing to believe an ex-girlfriend rather than your family. Like, why? And call them out on that and be like, so what's up? Why? It's just rude. This is fucking insane, though. So we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we are going to get into the update call. We are back from our break, and now it's time for the update.
And this is from season 7, episode 12. And she was an A+ student. She wrote down everything in paragraph form, MLA style. Great. So we'll just hop into that.
Okay, so I am calling in to give my update about my ex who I used to live with. And basically my original call was that he told me a couple months ago one time that he was thinking about a job offer he had gotten way back in the past, like almost a year ago. We had already worked through the fact that he wasn't going to take it because I wasn't going to go with him, and he would be hours away from family. I think in the call I said it was like 2.5 hours. And I also mentioned how he said he didn't feel like he was in love with me. And that was like a big thing that I talked about. He wasn't being affectionate in the relationship, anything like that. So here is my update. So I had a meeting with my college advisor discussing my upcoming classes. And this would have been like, I think it was like end of February, like the second to last week of February. Also, when he told me that he didn't feel like he was in love with me, that was probably like end of December of last year, early January. So now like end of February, I had a meeting with my college advisor just to talk about my upcoming classes. And I mentioned the possibility of me moving a couple hours away with my boyfriend if he were to take this job. I don't think I mentioned this when I called in for advice, but I was considering moving with him if he did take the job offer. I don't remember if I said that in the original call or not, which wasn't really smart of me because he was pretty much already hit and miss on whether or not he wanted me to go with him. Like every time we would talk about it, it would be like, oh, like, I don't know. I don't want you to like go with me and regret going. And some of that was practical, but it was also just like, he didn't want me to go. So my advisor basically told me that I most likely wouldn't finish my degree if I moved with him because I would be too far from campus to do my required in-person classes. My boyfriend was actually out on a job at the time for the company that he was working for at the time. So he wasn't even home for us to like discuss this. So I texted him and basically told him like, hey, if you do end up taking this job, I pretty much can't go with you. It's not even up for negotiation because of my classes. That day, I kind of started thinking about our relationship way more just because we were already having problems. And I was starting to have thoughts then about breaking up with him. The next day was when I actually got on Instagram and then just happened to see a post that I knew was actually about my call, just in my Instagram feed from like the Don't Blame Me podcast. And then I went and listened to that episode. Pretty much after listening to that episode, I was like, okay, case closed. Like, they're right. It's over. So at this point, he had already been pursuing the job offer and told me he was accepting it. He was actually with people from the company that was trying to hire him when he was on his work trip. And then this is just an explanation of how the contracting works, just because I kind of felt like this was important in the situation. So he worked for a contracting company and was doing work for the company that was trying to hire him through the company he worked for at the time as a contractor. Here's an example of the situation if you don't have a background of this kind of contracting, which would be considered like skilled trades. So he worked for A as a contractor who was staffing a project for B, who was doing work for C. B is the company that was trying to hire him. So he was working with people from B, and actually the guy who initially recruited him, he was working with on the project. So he was with him like every day. They also continued to keep in touch from last fall, which is probably a huge reason why this ended up happening. Side note, we both worked for A. I don't think I mentioned any of this stuff in my original call. We worked together. That was how I initially met him, was at work, which was back in December 2019. Because if you remember from my original call, I had mentioned we were together. We were together from December 2019 to end of February 2020. But most of that was long distance. So it wasn't even like serious. It was just exclusive is the best way to put it. So we worked together, and just another side note, his dad partially owns the company A, which is where I still work. Like, his dad partially owns the company. He's been there for like 7 years. Like, everyone knows him. I still currently work for company A. I probably will for a while. So he told me over text March 2nd that he was taking the job, and we agreed to break up in the same conversation, which I just want to emphasize, I pretty much initiated that because he texted me out of the blue that he was taking the job. It wasn't even a phone call. It was over text. And then I was like, so where do you think our relationship stands? Like, if you take this job? No response for probably at least an hour. And then he was like, well, where do you think our relationship stands? Pretty much just asking me my opinion. So that's when I was like, well, I don't want to do long distance. I just don't think it would work. And I pretty much just didn't want to do it. So we agreed to break up in the same conversation. He flew home the next day from the work trip from company A. And I decided a few days later I would take over the lease for his apartment and keep living where we already lived. He toured an apartment March 19th and decided that day he was going to move there, and then told me he was moving out March 23rd. I was super frustrated because I didn't have furniture or anything yet, but he didn't really care that he was giving me 3 days notice. The reason he was moving out within a few days of deciding what apartment he wanted is because they offered him $70 a month off rent if he can move in 3 days after he toured the apartment. I didn't have anything. Like, I literally had to buy a bed that weekend. I only had makeup and things that I would have just brought from my parents that I use every day. But furniture and everything was his because he's been in this apartment for years. He had everything. That was just how it was. He moved out on the 23rd, but he left his cat with me until he was settled in, which I was totally fine with because I loved his cat. So it was kind of like, he was obviously going to have to come back. He came back a little over a week later and stayed 2 nights at my place to see my new cat I got and visit family in the area because, again, he moved hours away from family. And that was totally just friends. Like, we didn't sleep together. He actually slept in the living room. Like, I slept in my bedroom. It was totally just like nothing happened. He had been over twice since then, one time to help my dad and I with some stuff at my apartment. And then he was here actually last weekend to drop off one of the keys for the apartment because, again, I took over the lease and his mom still had a key from when this apartment was his. So he was dropping that off when he was in town. That was pretty awkward for me because he still wants to be friends. He told me that. And I'm just kind of back and forth on it. So pretty much that's the update. But the current status is I'm kind of hesitant on still being friends with him or not. Like, we still talk almost every day. And it's like, one day I'm fine with it. And the next I'm just like, I don't know. Cause I'm not friends with any of my exes. That's a new thing for me. He's the first guy I ever lived with. Like it's all new. So I don't have any experience of like what I've previously.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
Done or anything like that.
So do you want to be, I mean, that's so much. Do you want to be like, when you have like, when your opinion changes day to day that you want to be friends with him or not, like, what's the feeling behind it? Like, is it like, oh, this is too hard to be friends? Or like, so for me personally, I will go from sleeping with someone and then dating them. And then we're not dating. I'm not having sex with them. I like hate them and I don't want to see them ever again. And like their face repulses me. Their name repulses me. Like everything about them. Like I just need them to be like gone from my life. Mm-hmm. Melissa can be friends with her exes.
I can be friends
I
with
can't because they
exes,
then disgust me.
And when I look, the thing is, when I look at them, they physically repulse me. Like I don't ever want to have sex with them ever again. But it's like fine as far as like friendship, because like I don't want to sleep with most people I'm friends with. So
okay,
like,
neither do I. But like I can't even be friends with them because I'm so repulsed by them.
And see, I'll be honest, I used to sleep with my friends in high school. Like I was that girl. And what's funny is we all went to church together. Like it was not my high school friends.
Great,
it was my from church and like
yes,
band and everything.
But were you dating them? You were just sleeping. Yeah. See, that's different.
I can
that's
sleep
different.
with It's the dating. It's like you've told me that you've like loved me or you've had feelings for me. Like we've held hands. Like we've been romantic. Like there's all of that. So like I'm a clean break kind of person. But I think you just have to like unpack what is it like with the days that you're like, I don't know if I want to be friends with him. Like what's the feeling that you're having?
Yeah.
Because like
do you still want to be with him? Like eventually, like if he
like, is it hard? Is it like,
no, honestly, it was something where I went through the breakup when we were still together, which is how it is with every breakup for me. Cause most of them I end. I mean, this was kind of like we just aren't compatible. So the job offer, in my opinion, just shed light on every aspect of how we shouldn't be together. Like I would never be with him again. Honestly, I would not be surprised if he ever came back to me, just because I think that's another thing is I have this gut feeling that he is going to regret it. And that's not being like, oh, I hope he regrets it and comes back to me, because I wouldn't take him back. I don't know. It was just such a conflicting decision for him that like, I don't want him to ever come back to me in that way.
Here's what I would say. And I don't know if Melissa's going to agree with me at all. I think that like you are inherently ingrained in his life as long as that you are the person on this lease now. Like, even though that he's not on the lease anymore, like this used to be his place. And like, because you said you moved in with him, it was his first and then it was you two together and now it's yours. Mm-hmm. And like, I think like, you know, he's got cats aren't the same as dogs. So it's not like I'm going to bring my dog. I guess you can like bring your cat over to like places or whatever. But like you live where his family is, you work with someone from his family, like that's something. So like you're already kind of in his life. So I'm kind of I agree with you in the sense that like I would not be surprised if like he comes back around. And I think that like maintaining a friendship, unless like you really like him as a friend and he adds so much to your life as a friend, he's going to be in your vicinity regardless. And you don't have to kind of keep those like pleasantries of maintaining a friendship, because like he's just kind of gonna be like,
I agree with this. Like, I think like I don't think you want to be friends with him. Like, quite honestly.
I don't think you do either.
And you just like, it's just that like, he's familiar and he's like, when he comes back to town, don't let him stay with you when he comes back.
Even if it's easy, even if it's like, well, this is someone who can like lift heavy things and like all of that kind of stuff. Because like I think it's like, it also doesn't make you a bitch. Like just, especially if he wants to be, it can be hard if like you have an ex who's like, I want to stay friends. And you're like, I don't. It's not because I like hate, I just like don't really like, your friendship doesn't add that much to my life.
So fair. Like, and I don't want to hurt his feelings. I think that's a big thing is like, he doesn't have friends. He is very lonely. Like, I would have drama with my friends and he would be like, yep, this is like why I don't have friends. Like he believes that like you're better off without friends. We have very different viewpoints and stuff, which is just another reason why we wouldn't work out. But like he doesn't value friends the way that I do.
Yeah.
But if he values me for some reason, probably because we've been together, I don't know. Like
I think you just have to stop giving him a reason to be there. Like, I mean, you needed your key. He came to see you. He stayed with you. Like, he has family there. He can go stay with them. Because he stayed in your living room or whatever. And maybe having like complete distance from him, and maybe that will give you clarity for the future, because you're like, you keep going back and forth. Just cut him off completely and then see where it is in like 3 months from now.
Yeah, because what do you guys talk about every day? Almost every day.
Like our day, or like I actually talked to him today, and it was just like about a project that he like just got back on for the company that he actually works at. So it's just like stuff like that. Like, honestly, it's typically like about work. And
okay, so you guys were long distance, and so he's just doing the same thing all over again, but without the title of dating. And like he put all of the balls and he put it all on you, where it was like you asked him like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, well, what do you want to do? I think if you said I want to stay together, he would have been like, okay, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like this is and he's just taking like your lead, but he's not changing like your much about the relationship.
I think so too. He's just kind of like keeping you there just in case, or hoping that you'll change your mind.
I think that's what it is, as opposed to backburnering like you. I think he's backburnering himself and like making sure he's present in your life and hoping you will change his mind. Because like inevitably, he might change his mind about the work thing. But I think like you have two options, which is like, I think like, I mean, what I would honestly do like ahead of it first now is just be like, hey, I've like, I really liked our relationship and everything, but, and I'm like really happy you're at this new job. And like, this has really shown me that like, I honestly just don't think that we're that compatible. And I think you're a really great person. But, and I think it'd be like, but as for like maintaining a friendship right now, like we did break up really recently. So like, best of luck. Like you do your thing. I'm going to do my thing, because I think you're either going to have that conversation now, or he's going to leave that job, come back and be like, well, now I'm back. That obstacle that was in the way of our relationship is gone. And like, now we can be together again. You're going to be like, I just want that.
Like, no, I would never be with him again. Like, there's just no way. So that's not even on the table.
Yeah. I would cut off the friendship. I do have to ask you this though. Like, did he ever have anything to come back after he said he didn't know if he loved you?
Like a reason?
Did he ever like take it back or say that he does?
No. So we also, I think I said this in the call, which was probably common sense for people, but we never said I love you. There was one time last summer when we had been drinking, and he like didn't say that he loved me, but he like said something other than that basically meant that. And then I literally was like, okay, like you've been drinking. I was like, yeah, but I still mean it. And I think I just like laughed. So no, I brought it up to him numerous times, but it was pretty much just like what I said. It was very what I said in the call. Like we were laying in bed and I was like, okay, what's been going on? You've just been really distant and like just completely different. Didn't even act like he cared about our relationship. And it was just like, I feel like I'm supposed to feel like I'm in love with you after this amount of time of dating, which was 7 months, I think, when I called him the first time. And I was just like, well, I don't feel like you have to feel like you're in love with me. Like, I don't think there's like a time frame for that or like a timeline. So like that honestly isn't a big deal. Like that hurt my feelings. Like I remember going in the bathroom and I was like literally crying about it. But
it's just mean. It's like mean and weird. Like, why would you say that? Like filter that in your head and then shut the fuck up.
Also, I think he just doesn't know how to be just friends with someone. And that's the problem. Like he is
he a serial monogamist? Does he like date? Is he like go from relationship to relationship to relationship?
No, I do that, but he doesn't.
But it just feels like he doesn't have friends close to him. And it's like when he's like in the same place with someone, he can't really make a commitment. It's more like he does like pen pals when he's at a distance. Like, he doesn't know how to be friends with you. So like it just, he doesn't know how to translate that into a relationship.
Yeah, he could be a really great catfish, probably. You know, maintaining all of that online, like texting, phone, like that stuff. Is he really close with his mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
She like loves me. Like, she wants to get together.
Do you see his dad a lot at work?
Yeah. Most days. Some days his dad doesn't come in, but I mean, we're talking in some form of communication probably almost every day.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I think his family is also probably, his dad probably loves you. You said his mom loves you. Like, I'm sure that it's like, oh, she's such a sweet girl. Like, whatever happened, blah, blah. And they also, I'm sure they didn't want him to move. And so then they got to be on the same side as like, well, she's here, we're here. And I'm sure they're kind of romanticizing that whole thing. And if he has no other friends, then like every single person in his ear is like, get back together, get back together.
And also, it was like embarrassing. Like, one time his mom came over for dinner, his mom and stepdad. And she looked at me and she was like, he was like, are you going to move to the job with him like hours away? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think he wants me to. Like, it was us four sitting at the dinner table. And I just said that. And I was not trying to be passive aggressive, but like, that was the situation.
It's the truth.
And then she like looked at him and asked him, and he was like, I don't know.
He just doesn't know how to be with people IRL. I really think that's the issue, is like, he doesn't know how to be just friends with someone or just get to know someone in real life. It all has to be at a distance.
Yeah.
That's super weird. Super, super weird. Yeah. Cut the friendship off, because regardless, he's still going to be like in your life by proxy by these other people and just like by location and all of that. But it doesn't make you a bitch. And like, that's the other thing. Like, you don't want to hurt his feelings or whatever. But like, here's the thing. Like, pretend he does. This is going to sound so like insane. Pretend he doesn't have feelings because you guys broke up. It was mutual. Do we think that he's probably still like pining for you? Yes. But like, pretend that you don't think that. And like, we don't know that. And it's like, here's the thing. Like, we broke up. It was mutual. Like, there's so much respect. Like, I don't have to worry about hurting your feelings because we're on the same page. And like, not wanting to be friends is like a totally realistic, like, it's kind of more of an unusual ask to like want to maintain friendship with an ex. And like, it is very normal to not want to do that. And like, that doesn't make you like a bitch or anything like that. And like, also because of the fact that like this, you're not even talking, like Melissa said, he doesn't know how to be your friend. You're talking like every fucking day. Like, that's like a lot. And like all of this, it's like, it's just like kind of the relationship all over again. And I think if you like put that boundary down now, you're not gonna, you might still have to do it later if he moves back and like wants to get back together. But I think it'll also probably make you like not resent like his family and like all, like, just be so annoyed by him, because at a certain point you'll just get like so fed up and annoyed. I think I'd like, stop fucking texting me.
Yeah, I mean, and then sometimes like he'll Snapchat me and then text me. I just won't respond to either of them because I don't care.
Yep.
And then he'll like Snapchat me or text me and be like, why didn't you respond to me?
Yeah, no, he's trying to hold on to your relationship how it was before you guys were in the same place.
Yeah, he's a weenie.
So do I like communicate this to him?
I think you either do now, or he's going to come back and try and get back together and think that the only thing that, so like, no matter what, like, you're either going to ghost him and ignore him. And then like, I would have the conversation ahead of time also, just because you work with his family.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because you work with his dad, then that it makes it awkward. So you can't just ghost him because you're still connected. So I think you have to have the conversation with him.
And you just phrase it nicely. But how Melissa and I talk about this all the time. I don't even think we talk about it on the podcast, but we talk about it in our personal lives. When we're having these conversations with people, make sure your message doesn't need a response from him. It doesn't need to be a conversation. It's like, hey, just want to say, like, so happy for you about your like new job. Like, this is great. And I want to let you know that I have appreciated the time that we spent together in a relationship. Like, you're great. I have really like been able to like realize now that like there is this separation like in space between us that like we really weren't compatible at all, but like I'm really thankful for our relationship. I think it's great that like we wanted to be friends at the beginning. I'm personally just like not comfortable with that at this point in my life, but like zero hard feelings. Like, I think you're a great guy and like I wish you all the best. And then just end it there, because it doesn't, he can ignore that and he can be mad and do whatever he wants to do, or he can respond, but then his response, like your message needs to be enough that like this is, you're encapsulating all of it. You're saying everything. He doesn't need to say anything back. And then anything else he says, if he tries to continue, well, like, well, why? You're like, I'm just done. Like, thank you. Like, you're great, blah, blah, blah. And then you're done. So you don't have to keep having this conversation because that's how like they can hook you back in when you're trying to, as from two ghosters, we've done both. We've like explicitly ghosted and then we've also done these conversations and you have to make it so concise so they don't try and like.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Rope you back in.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. And it's not mean.
And then just it's not mean and just don't respond. If you need to block him, but just don't respond to it.
Yeah, and I know his mom wants to get together, which I haven't.
No.
No. Also, it's actually because his parents are divorced, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you really don't have to. It has nothing to do with your job. Like, then you're fine.
I would never see his mom unless, basically, I would never see his mom unless we made plans to hang out.
Yeah,
and I know that when my ex was like with her the day that he came over to bring the key, she like asked him when we were getting together.
Like, why couldn't she have just dropped off the key?
Yeah.
Why did he have to get it?
I mean, I never was like, oh, your mom can't drop it off. Like, he just said he offered to, and I
so
also
like he came in town to get the key and bring it to you.
So yeah, kind of.
Yes.
So he came to stay at his mom's for the weekend, which is like still like 45 minutes from where I live. So I did have mail to give him. I will say that because I've still been receiving some of his mail.
Did you put the forward on it? Are you having
that doesn't really work?
It does some like mine.
I never even like thought to do that.
You should do it. It does. It gets like half of it. I won't say it gets all of it. It gets half of it. Just because when I moved from just upstairs to downstairs, a lot of my stuff was rerouted. But you should do it so it can get a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $1, I think, if you do it online.
He essentially did come into town to drop the key off, you could say, because his mom's was still hours from him, but it was still like 45 minutes from me.
Like she couldn't like just trash it or put it in the mail.
She probably could have.
Yeah, but it was just an excuse to see you.
Yeah.
And then why did he have to sleep on your couch?
That was when he originally moved out. Like, that wasn't recent.
But why did he sleep? But what was the reason?
He was staying in town for a couple of days to see family.
And so, well, why didn't he stay with the family?
Because he loves you.
Yeah.
I mean, this was when like he just moved out and stuff, and I feel like I'm feeling differently about everything now than I was when it originally happened. Like, I didn't care that he stayed here for 2 nights. That was like kind of lined up like the day he moved out, so I didn't mind. However, I thought that would be the last time that I saw him, and he's been over since then for the key thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he came over one time, but I actually don't remember what that time was for. I remember for my I ended up helping my dad with my dad and I with something, but I don't remember what specifically he came over for.
Yeah, nothing.
This like really fits into my narrative of like boy moms. There are 2 kinds of boy moms. It's either like, oh my gosh, this is a daughter I've never had. Like, I'm so obsessed with her and like I'm so overbearing and I love her so much and like she has to spend all of holidays with me, like blah 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 blah. Or I want to fuck my son. And you got the earlier one, which to be fair is the better one, but like it's still not good. Yeah. Like it's a lot. Like that's wild.
I feel like I've just been nice about everything and I don't really care anymore. Like now I'm just,
so then we don't care when we send this message to cut things off.
Yeah, and it's not mean. And I know I'm a bitch, and so it's hard to take me seriously when I say something's not mean, because it's like, is it really not? I promise you it's not.
You have to put yourself first. That's the thing, is you care more, right? Like, caring about his feelings is caring more about what he thinks than what you think. You have to put yourself first.
And this isn't a normal breakup. He doesn't know to have a breakup. Like, you're basically being like, no, we're just going to break up like normal people break up. Like, this whole, like, that's the thing. It's like, this isn't like out of the norm, but because he doesn't have any friends, he probably also doesn't, he doesn't know any of that stuff. It's also such a red flag to be like, I don't really care about having friends.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I would be like, I'm sorry, what? Well, thank you for the update. That was a roller coaster. And yeah, like I said, I'm happy that you are out of it and I was going to say your new apartment, in your apartment sans him and all of that.
Did you sage it?
What do you mean?
Sage, like kumbaya, hippie dippy.
No.
You gotta get his spirit out of there.
I didn't know what that was.
Remind me to do that too, Melissa. I need to do that. I've got some items from people here that I'm like, some bad juju.
I want you to buy. It comes like, just Google it. Just buy, like, go on Etsy. That's the best place to get it. And it comes like in a stick. I would get it, but it's in the kitchen. But it comes in a thing, and it's just like a bundle of sage, and you burn it, and then you open the windows, and you walk around, and you sage it, and just get the evil demons out.
This is in case anybody forgot that our podcast is based out of Los Angeles.
You know those incense things that people light?
Like patchouli?
It's I mean,
Palo Santo?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's different. It's not the same.
Okay.
We have so much homework for you. You're sending the text and you're sage in your apartment.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Sage.
Oh, also look up something with cats and sage. Make sure it might be toxic.
I said that. I was like, is that safe for my cat?
No, it's fine for the cat.
Okay. Just make sure your cat doesn't like eat it.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be great. Thank you so much for giving us the update. And
thanks for having me.
Good update.
Great update.
I hope you put all the things all your homework. I hope you do it and then report back to us.
I think this is a good lesson for all of us to sage our apartments. You know, I need to do that. So, should we get into Don't Blame Them?
Let's do it.
So Don't Blame Them is where a listener will call in and they'll give their own advice about a call that we had on a previous episode. So maybe they had their own personal experience. Maybe they heard something that we missed, or maybe they just have some additional insight so they can give their own advice. And what episode is it from?
This is from season 7, episode 24. I'll just play it because they're very thorough.
Hi, I'm calling in for a Don't Blame Them for season 7, episode 24, Captain Hook. All right, so I got some big pointers if he needs to tolerate this too big, too wide, like big. Okay, so what they're going to want to do is they are going to want to make sure you are getting it all relaxed. So I would highly recommend, if they're comfortable with it, maybe getting a little bit high beforehand. That's the only time I've enjoyed larger items in that manner. Okay, so make sure that you're really relaxed, very comfortable, lots of lube, like they said. And also, if it's curved, make sure that when you're taking it, you're lying on your back, because then it's going to go up towards the prostate and it won't go back towards the pelvis, because that's what's going to hurt a lot. So if you're like doggy style, you want to be on your back and it'll hurt less. Also would recommend there are tubes that you can get if you don't want the penis to go all the way in. Then, like, you don't want to go as deep. There's tubes that you can put on your partner, so then they don't have to put it in as far, and it still feel the same for them. So basically, if you feel comfortable and you are down for that, I would recommend getting a little bit high. It's nice. Lots of lube on your back, and then potentially getting the tubes that make it not go in as far. All right. Hopefully that can be a little bit helpful. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Oh, I thought it looked like you were raising your hand.
Oh. I just wanted to add, I said this during the call, but before she cuts in here, the thing on the back may not work because we don't know which way the dick curves.
There's one of two options. So what's the opposite of laying on your back?
Your front?
No. How?
What do you mean how?
Because we're going in a butt.
Yeah, you can still be on your back, like laying on your back and then go that way, or you can be on your front and lay. You can do it either way.
Wait, so
I know
wait.
because
So wait, what was the original?
Okay, here's the thing. When I was in college, there's this dude, there was a rumor going on about this guy was in a porn that we went to school with. So then we found it.
Of course.
Nowadays, I wouldn't do that because that's invading somebody's privacy. But that's the first time that I knew that you could fuck in the ass on, like, lying on your back.
Wait, so the way they suggested on the Don't Blame Them was to lay on your stomach.
She said on your back.
Oh, on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Legs up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the other would be on. Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
but the dick could go to the left or right too. So I guess you would have to be on your side, right?
Yeah. I think also, like, it depends on the curvature
of your.
But can your butthole be curved too, or is that just more of a straight?
I think everybody has a different butt.
Because I know, like, vagina, like, your vagina can be like, tampons don't go just like straight,
right? They
can. You got to maneuver based on how your body works.
Mm-hmm. So I think it'd probably be the same for your butt.
I would think so too. So I think, like, the thing is, like, it also just depends on where the curve is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the real solution, I mean, I think it's going to be like a position that is the most comfortable for both parties, but the lube is going to have to be a lot. Cause, like, that's how you got to get around corners, you know? But I do know those things that the other person that they're referring to, where these, I hate the word "to" for some reason. It's just, like, so unsexy to me. So I've seen it before because they're talked about a lot in, like, the like endometriosis and I think it's called adrenosis or whatever community of, like, so you can have, like, pain during sex. So they basically, like, it kind of just looks like, I don't know, like a pool floaty-ish kind of thing, but, like, less, but so it goes at, like, the top of the penis, so it doesn't go all the way in, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of more like tube-like, and so it's, like, more ribbed, so it moves along the penis while you're having sex, so it still has that simulation up there, but it, like, stops from penetrating as deep. So I've seen those. I never thought about those for butt stuff, but that makes total sense. So it's not going as deep. Yeah. I think that would also make sense, especially if the curves towards the shaft, like, towards the body. And then you can kind of avoid that curve.
If anybody knows the exact name of this, please let me know, because I want to see it, because I've done some Google searches and I'm not getting what I'm trying to get.
Okay. Oh, there's one called O Nut. They're like silicone rings. They kind of look like the Michelin Man's, like, part of his arm.
Thank you for enlightening me. I've learned something new today. I would also like for the person that called about their boyfriend's dad who wants to impregnate her, I would like you to call back, please. I think about you a lot.
I think about you every day. Yeah, we just know that the entire community loves
behind you.
And really wants you to call back desperately. You're an icon. You are an icon. You're the new had sex with 3 brothers. That is it for our episode. If you want to give us a call to be in an upcoming one, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you have an update or don't blame them, same numbers, all of that, especially for updates, shoot us an email. We love our updates. And if you want to watch the video version, we're on Patreon. It's only $1 a month. We do video versions for every single episode. So that's, like, between 4 and 5 episodes a month for literally $1, so, like, 20 to 25 cents. And we also have a $5 tier where we do live streams twice a month. They're really fun, just like us all on Zoom together, hanging out. And if you want to support more than that, just, like, continue to support the show, you can fill in however much you want to donate. You also don't have to come to live streams, but it helps us continue on doing this podcast because we are not owned by Barstool Sports. Follow our Instagrams, everything. Leave us a review on the podcast app. Anything that you want to promote? Do you want to promote your TikTok?
I mean, I don't put any TikToks up.
That's true. But if you follow Melissa, then you will see all of her comments on my TikTok, so it'll pop up at the top. True.
You haven't given me much to work with the last couple of days. I made that note.
So sorry.
I mean, you've done them, but there just weren't ones that I could really troll about.
No. You'd have to be like, you're ugly. Like, that's how you would have had to troll.
I'm not that type of troll, okay?
No, you're not. No. You're much smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to promote?
No. This is a review by Why Are All the Usernames Taken?
I see a lot of ends there. You are not. You're not wrong.
I started listening a few years ago and stopped. Not sure why, but as a 20-year-old, I can relate to many of these calls. Megan and Melissa are both honest and hilarious and give you the tough love advice you need to hear. Their democratic views are not harsh, but simply what we need in today's political climate. I listen to old episodes every day on my way to work while waiting each week for Monday's episode.
Love it. One clarification, I wouldn't say I necessarily identify as a Democrat, but I definitely have I'm a big fan of democracy.
Are you a registered Democrat?
Oh, yes. I'm a registered Democrat. But
the United States recognizes you as a Democrat.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, me saying that, I don't want anyone to think that I've ever in my life been like, I'm more of a independent libertarian. No. I just, look at, I'm a Ralph Nader stan. Love a Green Party. Love lots of socialist things as well. But yeah. Well, that's it for our episode. It was a long one, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
I'm Superman.
And this is Patrick. Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melissa DeMonts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso. Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
In Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.